Hey guys, welcome back. On this episode, we're going to be working on the Kyosho miniz all-wheel drive. I've had them for a little while. I picked them up when I got back into the miniz two-wheel racing, and we've just been having fun kind of tooting around drifting. But most of the ones we've been getting locally up here just come in the rally trim bodies, like this Kyosho car, or we have the Subaru. They're kind of hard to get your hands on. eBay wants, you know, like a ridiculous amount, especially for us Canadians. So luckily our friends at Eliminator RC listened to us, and they were able to bring in these bodies. The initial D series replacement body just for the car, just the shell alone, and it will fit on a rear-wheel drive MR03 narrow rear motor, all-wheel drive MA015 and an MA020, which is this. So inside the box you get a bunch of little license plates, decals for the license plate, and you also get the nice little Toyota Trueno body. Where did I just put the screwdriver set? Some cool little box art from the comic books. Yeah, so the car we're going to be using will be the AE86 Trueno. Now, one thing I noticed about these bodies compared to the Autoscale collection is they come with slight flaws and defects. There's a scratch here. This one headlight is all kind of marked up. The headlights are a different color than the body. They're more white. The body's more of a kind of a, almost like an off-white there. Around the wheel wells, the paint line doesn't follow perfectly. The white around that trim is a little bit off. So yeah, they kind of don't really put the effort into these ones because they're the more cheaper stuff. And they don't come with the drift tires on them. They come with just a rubber tire on there. So we might have to get some drift tires to stick onto the Trueno style wheels to keep it looking original. But otherwise, yeah, I'm going to pull this guy apart. Put the roller chassis off to the side. So inside you can see here where they have melted the plastic down for the windshield. You just need to scrape a bit of material away right at the pin that they've melted here. There we go. That's how with the stuff down factory. Usually you gotta find the way these windows slide out of the car from the front wheel well, like so. Cool. Nice, the headlights come off with 2 screws, which is nice. Oh, you can put a light kit in this body too, which is actually really nice. Itching to get a light kit into one of these things for a while. Oh, okay. Ooh, didn't break anything. Okay, boom, got those off. It'd be cool if they give you the headlight covers in the package to cover those off like they do with the Celica body. They give you the fold down headlights or the fold up ones with this one. So we get a side marker light, a little bit of melt there, a little front marker light there, marker lights here, and then tail light assemblies. So yeah. Okay, I'm going to dig these out. We're not going to bore you guys with all that fun stuff. We'll jump back in here once I get that all apart in the next step of sanding it. Okay, now that we get that all apart, I'm just going to sand it with this little bitty piece of 600 grit that I've got that's pretty beat up and worn. We're just looking to scuff up the paint everywhere. You don't have to remove anything to go down. Make sure all the little edges are good. Get all those spots. I've already gone over the car once. I'm trying to free this writing on the door here. Yeah, the paint job on these ones compared to the Autoscale body is complete trash. Okay, well, we get the body back out of primer. We gave it some Tamiya light white primer just to kind of knock down some of the black on the bottom. Now when you're doing these, you don't want to go too heavy with the primer and all your coats, because then you lose all the fine detail on the small body. So then next up, I'm going to use a base coat. My other color is going to be, first color is going to be my bright mica red. And I'm going to paint the entire body bright mica red, and then I can do my masking over it, and then I'll do my second color over top of that. So. Okay, now that we got that painted in Tamiya bright mica red, sorry I don't have the number, but I will tag it in the video. I didn't care about the bottom. You can see there's a little bit of white around the bottom because that's all going to be done in black after. I just wanted to get the red mostly on the top. I did 2 nice heavy layers on here to get good saturation and good color all the way through. Make sure we got no white poking out on it. Yeah, so we are going to now, I've let that dry overnight. It's now the next morning. So I am going to start applying our graphic. Now we have a Cricut. I don't know if it's going to be hard to see on there, but we have a Cricut vinyl cutter. And I cut this, designed and kind of cut out this digital camo thing. There's the blue spots are what we've pulled out of it. Let me hook and pull one out of here and show you what they look like. On a small piece here. So this is what they're looking like here. We got a whole bunch of pieces like this. That digital camo kind of look to it there. So what we're going to do is kind of start with a pattern, no particular order. Just try to get it looking as straight as you can with the body lines. Lay that out on there. And we're going to go kind of light to the front and then kind of get bigger and heavier towards the back, so the most of the front of the car will be in red, and the back of the car will be, or most of the car in front will be in black, and most of the car in the back half will be red. So we go. We're starting to get a nice design kind of thrown down there. Looking pretty good. So we're going to keep kind of doing the taper to the back with the heavy, and then just go a couple little more dots in the front, and then we're going to go hit that with a matte black on top, and then peel that back. So let's go check back here in a few minutes when I finish that up. You guys don't want to sit here and watch me put all those on. So okay, we've got our vinyl laid up in a pattern I liked. I know it looks kind of weird in the red and white right now, totally Canadian themed, but we're doing this in black and red, so wherever the white's going to be is going to turn to red, and the rest of the car is going to turn to black. So I'm not a huge fan of red cars, so it's playing games with my mind. Sorry, turn the GoPro on, give you guys some close-up shots. So yeah, just kind of did a little scramble pattern of the little design we did. So this little part here is going to need some work. All in here is going to be brush painted black anyway, so it's just this part is kind of what matters. All this middle part is going to be black anyway. So yeah, so I'm going to go hit this guy with a I think a metallic black. I'm going to hit it with, and then I'm going to peel up all these, and then I'm going to come back and clear coat everything over top of it, or I might just go straight matte black. I'm still on the fence on that right now. Check back in a few minutes, we'll figure it out, I guess. See which route we've gone. Okay, well that turned out to use a little bit more paint than I was planning. We actually used a whole can on that body to get that gray to cover over the red with enough coverage to where you actually was looking good. I'm sure in bright light you're still going to see some of the gray through it, but that's only an intermediate color. So right now we're going to peel back all the little this digital camo kind of design that we have here, so expose it to the red like it is right there. I did a little test piece on the hood, you can see right here, so it's pretty shiny. So yeah, a little test spot there. So I'm going to go through and peel them all back. You want to make sure the paint is good and dry, but what I find is if you let it dry a little bit too much, it kind of gets flaky at the edges. It's kind of nicer to do it when it's soft and you can kind of push it down a little bit. So paint it, give it about an hour, and then go out and remove it. You can wait till the next day and just clean it up a little bit, but I find it flakes a little bit more when it's had time to fully cure. So there is a full can of paint on top of the red, so it is a little thicker than I want, but once we get the clear coat onto there before we go to our next color, kind of smooth it all out, it'll look really good. So yeah, I'm gonna get to plucking this guy out. I'm gonna use my Cricut tool. This is a weeding tool from Cricut with a little hook on the end. Dentist tool, any pick like that works. X-Acto knife works, but it's a little bit better. It's not as sharp as the blade. You can get in there and peel it away a little bit better what it's designed for and kind of pull it out. So I like to start at ones that are like easy ones first, right? You don't want to find a set of tweezers or a little tiny pair of needle nose like these guys. Actually found these on a job site. A guy was using them, electrician threw them out because he bent the jaws. I took them home, hammered the jaws straight on them, sanded the back of it on the belt sander and the tip, and kind of turned it into a nice little hobby tool, and man, they work so good. So his loss, my gain. You want to be careful holding the body when the paint's a little bit tacky still. At the same time doing this body, I was also working on this R32 Skyline for our DRZ V2 rear-wheel drive atomic drift car. Completely poonched the paint job on this one, so I've been slowly stripping it right back down to the carcass so I can restart on it. So the base layer was not dry enough, and the vinyl that I put on it was this green stuff, which is not it's not a good brand. As soon as the paint hit it, it reactivated the glue and made the glue from this melt onto it. So if you are doing this, we recommend using Oracel or Oracle brand, O-R-A-C-A-L, Oracle, I guess. 651 intermediate, whatever. This is semi-permanent or permanent, this one. Yeah, 651 is permanent. This stuff will take the abuse from putting other chemicals like paint and stuff on top of it, so you can end up getting nice sharp edges like that, and you're not getting any bleed through, and you're not getting any, worst of all, any residue left in there, which if you clear coat or put another paint on top, it just makes it go to crap. So I'm holding it by the edge of the windowsills there. I can still feel the tackiness in the body. So like I said, if you're not comfortable, you can let it dry, but I don't like working with it when it's dry because of the flakiness. That flakiness really sticks to the red. You'll end up with no matter what you do, you'll end up with specks on the red, especially if you're doing a bright color. So just try to do it tacky. Not crazy tacky, like you should be, you know, somewhat dry, but you should be able to feel the tack to it. So okay, like we like to say around here at this time, we're gonna rinse and repeat and finish up plucking all the vinyl up off this guy so we can expose the color. You see right there what I mean by it's a little bit tacky? That's just from holding it with my fingers. I'm starting to take some of the paint off, so might let it cure up a little bit more. I just wanted to get some footage, and yeah, I'm starting to take some off, but luckily it's on the edge of the windowsill, which needs to be painted matte black anyway, so luckily I'm not touching the paint job. Maybe a little bit more curing time would work, but I just wanted to get this rolling for you guys so this doesn't take 3 days. So check back here as soon as I get that cured up. I'm going to give it another hour, and then I'm going to peel the rest of it off, and then we'll go from there. Hey guys, check it out. Okay, the body is back now. We stripped off all the, whatchamacallit there, all the pieces. We went through, did the clear coat on it now, and it's looking pretty good on it. Yeah, we got all the gray all happy. It's a little bit thin in a few places, but remember, this is just our intermediate color. We're going to be rolling another color on top of it. It's kind of a shame to kind of bust it up. It does look pretty cool. And remember, we had to put a whole can of this gray on to cover the red. It was super thin, so you end up with like a different height between here. So I've been using my 600 grit sandpaper and just going through and sanding. You don't have to do the whole area, but just feathering out kind of the edges around where it meets, so it's not just a sharp high thing. Now with that much paint difference between it, you're never going to get that to go away. We're going to have to live with that. But you can drop it down pretty good. And the idea is what you want to do is sand all the high areas just a little bit, and then put another layer of clear coat, which then should bring up everything evenly. Sand the high areas, another layer of clear coat. You can keep going and get it back up to perfect, but ultimately it is a drift car. So we're just going to go about 2-3 times and get it pretty close. But the perfectionist in me probably won't let that happen, so I'll probably have to sit here and sand this thing right out till it's back to close to perfect as we can. So you want to try to avoid touching down in your low spots on the red area. Those areas don't need to drop at all, so just go to the where the gray is. You can wet sand this to speed up the process, but the wet sanding will, removes material pretty quick. On a small thing like this, it's not really necessary. If there's a larger area, I'd recommend throwing some wet sanding at it. But remember, wet sanding erases paint quicker than just good old dry sanding it off. So now you do want to make sure you have enough clear coat on here so that I'm going through and I'm not affecting the color of the paint underneath. I got down 2 layers of clear coat before I started the sanding. So it's one thing you want to just make sure you're not removing your actual color. Trust me, I've done it before. It's no fun. So I like to go in a random orbital pattern. I go this way and then I go clockwise and then counterclockwise and then clockwise and counterclockwise and continue to keep moving. That's why you're not digging, and then you don't just go like 1 2 switch 1 2 switch. You always kind of switch it up 1 2 3 4 5 and then 1 2 and kind of like that. What I mean by random, and that way you keep from digging holes and swirls and ditches with your finger. You should be using a block, but once you get a really good feel for the paper, you spend a couple hundred hours sanding things, you no longer really need one. I still use blocks for big flat areas and door panels and stuff like that where you do need one, but this vehicle's pretty small, we can get away with this. So the block just stops if you're using like 3 fingers, and people sand it with 3 fingers like this, and they'll actually leave 1 2 3 dents because they're not doing an orbital or moving around. So, and block sanding is for like leveling out panels anyway. It's a bit different than what we're doing here. So okay, well, I'm going to finish that up over the entire body, and I'm going to go put another 2 layers of clear coat on it, and then let it cure, and then we'll show you what it looks like after that. It's going to look amazing. And, you know, with any paint job, the more time you spend on it through your layers, instead of just bombing your layers on top, the better it's going to look in the end, right? So now you can see it's starting to get cloudy here on the GoPro. We're starting to knock down the clear coat there. It's starting to smooth out, but you can still see that ridge. That's a pretty wicked looking little body already. It's going to look fantastic when it's done. We're going to see after we laid out that second clear coat if we are going to even do the next layer of matte black. So we might not. It's looking pretty sharp the way it is, when we might ruin it by putting a third on it. So yeah, let's check back here in a little bit, guys. Hey, okay, so we're on I think day 3 now, hour 750 of this paint job. It's been keeping me up late every night when I should be in bed getting ready for getting a good night rest for work and all that stuff they recommend. But anyhow, Jesse and I just finished, Jesse's out today. Hey, Jess.
Hi.
Hey, Jesse. Jesse and I just finished laying out all the white on here. By that I mean Jesse tried to stay awake while he boringly ass watched me stick on 9,000 little pieces of white vinyl over top of our gray and red and our clear coat. So now we are going to take that to our paint booth. Get this cat hair out of there. Take that to the paint booth, and we're going to spray that in, to me, a TS6 matte black. It actually does look really cool in the red and the white and the gray. We might do another paint job in the red, white, and gray, but I want the black on there. So yeah, we're going to go set that up. One thing I'm going to do to make my life easier is to cut out any little pieces of vinyl that kind of hang down into the edge of the window frame, so I don't have to sit there and brush that black. And once I spray matte black, that will all go matte black too, right? So looking good. So yeah, I'm gonna go spray this in a matte black, and we'll come back to this. Matte black dries pretty quick, so about 15-20 minutes we can get this guy back out here and start pulling off the mask and reveal the final finish, and then we can go through and put all other bits and pieces together. Obviously our headlight backing piece needs to be sanded and just painted matte black, because it'll be sitting in a part that I purposely left. That's gonna go black just to make it easier. So yeah, let's go get that going. Let's give it a go. Okay, there we go. Back, dry, matte black. Not totally dry, but dry. Does that make sense? Let's go with that. So let's reveal this. Either masterpiece or mess.
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. This episode of Masterpiece. A little bit of residue from the vinyl, but I did put a lot of black paint on top of it. think a little bit of Windex once it's done should remove that. It's not sticky or tacky, and it's just a little bit that I can only see in the right, a little bit of light. So yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. We got the bit of the metallic gray and the red popping through there. So careful. You can lift your edges, peel them off. I think you guys see me do this 100 times by now. Yeah, so we're going to blast through this, get this peeled off, and then we're going to come back when it's time to pop in the windows and all the other details. I'm going to get Jesse to mask off these headlights and actually go spray them matte black while I finish off peeling this out, so we can still have time to get a film before he got to go to work and get all the toys and gifts out to all the kids around the world. Santa. He's Santa Claus. Okay, there we go. Out of the paint booth, we've got the matte black on it. It's kind of shiny. I'm not gonna lie, I've been sanding it down a bit on top. I've decided the matte black adds too much negative contrast. I don't know if that's a thing. It didn't make the other colors pop out, so I'm starting to sand it down, and I'm gonna clear over top of the matte black. So it's just gonna be black, gunmetal, and red. So it's still gonna have 3 colors. Just the matte black wasn't looking good, so I decided to start sanding it down. My 600 grit is almost out of sandpaper, but it's nice because it's kind of polishing as I go, and you just want to work on it very slowly everywhere. Just kind of feel it out. Any like high spots, you know, ridges and stuff you feel, you can now knock them down. There's about 4 coats of clear underneath the black, so we don't have to worry about really affecting any of the red or the gray at this point. So it's pretty deep in there. You'd have to be sanding on it with this piece of worn out sandpaper for a week to get into that area. So the silica that we used for the donor car, it's in the 90mm actually. I thought it was 94. We were going to put this guy on the Subaru chassis, but found out that the Subaru is actually set in the 94, and I kind of want to have the 2 different wheelbase drift cars. So we're going to keep this guy at this wheelbase, and this guy's going to be our 90mm wheelbase car. So this is from the cheaper line. This is a $40 body from them, so it's not really it's gonna take a lot more work for the, you know, I put the Celica tires onto it because it's a very narrow body, and the Celica wheel and tires are very the offset isn't that much on them. It's pretty tight actually, like very tight, almost touching the shock tower, so they're about as tight as you can go, and they're still touching the just the inside of the body right here. And then I got to open up the wheel wells. But any mini Z, like the our drift one off of our Atomic 128 DRZ here, this guy we had to open up the wheel wells. Kind of hard to see now, but we opened up the inside of the wheel wells just to get the tires to turn a lot better and flip flop inside there, not touch anything. Especially on a rear wheel drive, you want to have no interference. So yeah, that's going to take a bit more work. I should have did that before I got into painting, but I can go do that on the inside and then just brush paint that black after. So yeah, I'm going to go back to sand this guy back down, and then get rid of all this rough stuff. The matte black. Another thing too, this red took a ton of paint to cover. The bright mica red is super bright. Like, I had to put a couple coats of matte black on to cover it, which is kind of abnormal, but kind of learned something there today with that. So it went on kind of ugly, a couple places. Matte black is heavy, so I'm just gonna smooth it out, clear it, more sanding, clear it, more sanding, and then we'll put all the detail together on it. So, and then we'll decal it, put a bunch of I'm gonna order some water slides, put some water slides on it, maybe another layer of clear over top of those. We'll make it pretty. Another thing you can do is take a piece of like your shirt or cloth, you can kind of polish it down too, and that actually just helps break away any little edges. Yeah, so there we go. It's starting to look pretty hot. It'll be a cool looking little body when it's done. So yeah, I'm gonna get this guy clear coated and sanded up. Next time you guys see it, we'll be done painting it, and we'll be getting into putting the lights on it. Yeah, okay, so we're just putting the final details on, putting the little bit of chrome that had to go behind the brake lights, behind the front marker lights. We used Tamiya X11 acrylic chrome silver paint, and right now I'm just going over it with Tamiya flat black XF1 acrylic paint to get my window trims done, and she's ready to put back together. Jesse is setting up a new set of wheels. We ended up buying these guys in white, and we're painting them red. They're just the generic Kyosho all-wheel drive sets you get. They're kind of like a fan style wheel. They kind of seem to have them for same style for all, just different colors. So yeah, I'm just brushing some paint around the window frames. We've already done the front and the sides here, and then yeah, pop the headlights in, put the windows in. I'm trying to clean up the window a little bit. It's not the same plastic you get with the auto scale. It's like Lexan, and it's kind of milky looking, so I might try to polish that up a little bit before we put it back in. Jesse also installed some of the Kyosho camber front knuckles for the ride, and gave us 4 degrees camber on the front, so it apparently they drift better with that. We gotta try it out. So one thing I've noticed, once you're going for a while on this stuff, it's best to clean your brush off halfway through and start again. The brush gets kind of sticky, and then it kind of makes it hard. You want to have the paint flowing nicely when you're doing these window trims and such. So using also a Tamiya number 870028 brush, very fine little square bullhead tip on it there. You can see it in the GoPro here. I don't know if you call that the right head for it, but this is kind of my go-to brush. I've got a couple set up, and yeah, I just love them. Tamiya paints, Tamiya brushes, they do magic. I'm not that good of a painter, but everything comes out good with the products we use. So, product is the biggest part of painting anything. If it don't flow, it don't dry. If it's bumpy, if it's rough, it's ugly paint, it's ugly finish, right? So it drives me nuts when I see guys doing scale work and they're buying those like little blister packs you get with like a coloring thing at the dollar store, and I'm like, don't. And then somehow they put it on and it looks amazing, but I know it's just a really good picture at a good angle. I've been fooled. I've seen Instagram. So I ordered a one-way front differential for this guy from good old RC Mart. Ordered up a one-way front differential, so that way when you hit the brakes, the front tires can freewheel and the back tires lock up like a handbrake. And then we might get some camber knuckles for the rear and some toe and stuff going on, kind of start playing with them. Not many people drift them. Most people will go to like our DRZ, rear-wheel drive kind of drift car, which we have, but you know, the Mini Zs they're cool, they look good, and they're everywhere. So for the average person, this is a lot more achievable drift car. Like that DRZ build right there was a serious build. It's not just slap it together and go drifting. Everything needs to move perfectly, no drag on any of the balls and like the knuckle balls and anything. Like it's got to be smooth as butter. And Mini Z, you know, just go drift it. It's all-wheel drive. Same as like when you're drifting a four-wheel drive drift car, and you can throw it around everything, and then you pick up a two-wheel drive drift car and you can't even get it to drift, right? It's just same thing. Oh, and then the price too. This car is $200. To build a DRZ, you're looking at about $500. So, well, in Canada. Ooh, and then I forgot the new carbon tax. $7,000 to build it up here. So yeah, definitely a difference in the $40 body versus the $80 auto scale body. But you know, these were at our local hobby shop, and I knew like I would be kind of hard pressed to do this to an auto scale body. This thing was just a simple. They didn't even put really much care into it. So, like when they were melting the windshield and they slipped with the soldering iron, and they're like, good enough. I had the Drift Authority one, I think it was, my my blue AE86 with the body kit, and oh, it was such a nice car. I still see them out there every once in a while, never for sale, just in people's collections. So she never sold that one. They had that possum with the gas mask on the back there, Raccoose or whatever it said. Okay, so all the details put back in. Screwed the headlights back down. kind of cleaned up the windshield a little bit, just kind of buffed it up with a soft cloth and a little bit of cleaner on it, kind of clean it up a bit. Looks okay. Right now, so we've clipped in the rear tail lights, and remember when I had to take them out, I had to cut away where it was melted in. So I'm just going to heat up this piece of Kanthal, or you can use any wire. Like I said before in our video, Buddy gave us his vape batteries and junk and wires and stuff. So this Kanthal, it's nice and red really quick. Real quick. So then you can take it in there and you can remelt the stubs for the lights where they come through to hold it in. Now you don't want to go silly on it because you will melt right through. Also, for clipping the windows back in, you can melt down the studs. Okay, so taillight's in, all that's in. Now I just got these tiny little markers to clip on the sides, and that's about it. Perfect. Okay, so that's it. That body is back together. We need to just throw some fancy drift tires. We picked up some Kyosho. Because it's such a narrow body, it ain't like the big old fat R32. We picked up some of the 8.5 millimeter drift tires. We're gonna huck those on there, and yeah, let's get this guy mounted up and let's get some drift action going on with this guy. Check it out. So far we're at paint and some camber adjustment. Coming in the next video, we're going to throw in the one-way front differential so we can get that lovely e-brake slide action from it. I think we're going to do a counter steer car. We're looking for some other YouTube build tips for, you know, working on the car and things we can do, and we came across a counter steer mod which makes the rear tire spin twice as fast as the front, so you're always kind of fighting to keep the back end of the car around. So I've never driven a counter steer. Okay, well, let's grab that miniz chassis and let's get those wheels on it. This one here, let's swap the wheels out and let's get this guy on the ground. We'll see you guys on the okay, well, that brings us to the end of this little build. I think came out amazing. These are the stock Kyosho all-wheel drive rim set. You get all the different sets in. We're running 1.5 offset on the rear and 0 on the front, just because this body's so narrow. Yeah, the paint worked out great. The red is Tamiya Mica red, TS85. The gray is Tamiya metallic gray, and you'll need a lot of it. You need a whole can to cover up the red with it. And then the black is actually TS6 matte black, and then we sanded it all smooth and cleared it and sanded it and cleared it and cleared it and sanded it and cleared it. There's probably about 6-8 layers of clear in between the layers, so you get that nice triple layer effect. And then you kind of get, I don't know if you'll be able to see it with that camera, but you kind of get almost a textured in between the kind of digi look from the different layers we did underneath, because the reds are bigger, but remember we kind of sectioned it off. So the thing looks pretty dope, actually. Very happy with it. I don't know if you can catch it on the GoPro, but yeah, it looks pretty cool with the texture. It does feel smooth, but you can kind of see that texture in there. You can feel it a little bit in some places, but then the matte black around the windowsills to give it a bit of definition where the rubber trims would be. Put all the stock taillights, everything back in, just put the Torino plate on the rear. And then we put the Toyota plate on the front. And one thing we forgot to install was the light kit, but that's just a matter of plugging it in. So we're gonna actually just plug it in really super quick, and then we're gonna hit the track and do some quick drifting, as it is 3 o'clock in the morning and we gotta get to bed. Okay, well, that is going to bring us to an end. The LED light kit we picked up to go in the car doesn't seem to work. It might just be for the MR02. I thought they would be the same power plug, but I am not sure. Not sure. For some reason this guy didn't work for us. I don't know why. So I'm going to keep all the packaging. We'll figure that out. But anyway, that brings us for now to the end of the custom build. Car looks amazing. Filthy now because our track is filthy from being sitting, people walking on it, myself mainly. Cats. Oh, gotta get rid of the, put up a fence down here for the cats. But anyhow, car looks amazing. We got the auto scale sitting next to them. For a drift car, home done, I think it looks pretty good. Lined up with these guys, I think he can hang. Definitely pretty sharp looking. Very happy with the way that came out. Big thanks, Jesse, for helping me with that design and paintwork on it. As always, with all our projects. We didn't plan on doing this one. It just, these things just happen. We're supposed to be building this Bronco back here, but little things keep getting in the way. So we'll get back to that guy on the next video. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so this is gonna wrap up our mini Z season. It's going to be about a month before the parts show up for RC Mart, so you guys probably won't see this guy till fall. But we're going to start doing the counter steer to this guy, make him a counter steer car, and then probably strip the body and paint it much different than what it is. We're not sure we'll go. We won't do something like this again because it's kind of lame to keep copying, but we'll figure out something. I'll probably end up just ordering another body to do it with. I do like these bodies the way they're painted. I can just get the white plastic one and do that way, so I'm not ruining the nice work that they've done on it. Somebody did spend a lot of time to do that, so you know, we do, you know, and it looks fantastic, right? So, and the Celica we won't bastardize. I've always loved the Celica GT4, so, but I'm not a fan of Initial D. I know it's out there, but whatever. It's not my thing. So this car had no problem. I am a fan of Truenos and Toyota Corollas. I had a little Toyota Corolla back in the day. Fun little cars, a little underpowered to 1.6, but they're fun. So yeah, so we're gonna take some picture of this guy, put it up on the Instagram. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram at ProNoobRC. You can also find us right here every week, or week and a half, or half week on YouTube. Cheers.